Now, before we do reduce, let's do find. So what is find? Well, let's first get our array again. So we'll just copy over what we had from our last experiment. And find is also exactly as it sounds. We're trying to find an element that correctly returns true based on the conditional that we have and the return of our function. Very similar to filter. So what we would say is myArray.find, and we would get our element. And let's say I wanted the element that is equal to 5. Well, here it would get us our element, 5, right? Because if 1 goes in, is it equal to 5? No. 3? No. But 5 is true, and the moment that it's correct, this method actually stops, and it gives us back the first value in the array that returned true from calling this function on each element. So it won't keep going. So a way we can actually see this is if we say myArray.find, and we get our element. And let's say we do as long as the element is greater than 4. So theoretically, 5, 7, and 9 are all true. But because it's applying it from left to right on each element, the first element that this returns true, it will return, and it won't keep going. And we know that it will be 5. So .find is a great way for us when let's say we have an array of objects, right? And we want to find a specific object based on some condition, right? You can imagine if we had, let's say, people array, where we had an array of objects where the ID was 1, the ID of 4, and then the ID of 7. If we wanted to find people array, right, with the ID of 4, well, then we would say person, where person.id was equal to 4. And now this will give us our second item, where it's our person with our ID of 4. So this is the great thing about find, is that find will give us the reference to whatever element it is that matches the condition that we pass in the function of our find. And we will use this as well quite extensively in our coding.